So it's Carrie. You guys have been really busy sending me lots of messages, and I appreciate that so very much. And so I am responding to another set of questions from a recent RSD video I did. I am a survivor of RSD, reflex sympathetic dystrophy, also known as CPRS. This was a pretty heavy question that I was asked, and I hesitate to answer it because I just don't want to. It's just a really heavy question to answer. And the question is, was I clinically depressed at some point in my 16, 17 years of dealing with this rotten disease? And if I did, what worked for me? How did I get out of it? And I think that the truthful answer for everybody that would answer, everybody that has this disease will answer this question the same way. I'm 100% confident in this answer. Yes, at some point in time, every single person who has this horrible disease gets clinically depressed. Some of it, and some patients can get so depressed that they do the worst thing that anybody could ever consider doing. Because I refer to it like this. When I was first injured, I lost 7 months of my life because I was living on pain medication. And pain medication steals lives, okay? It just does. It steals minutes, hours, and days out of your life when you're on pain medication because you are not cognitive. So you lose that time frame. You lose that forever. You can never get it back. And at about 9 months after my injury, I finally realized that. It was through the holidays, and somebody had asked me a question about a conversation that I had with one of my brothers at Thanksgiving. And I'm like, I didn't have a conversation with what are you talking about? I have no idea what you're talking about. And that was a huge wake-up call for me because I realized in that moment that I was losing time out of my life because of this disease, because I was on opioids. And it made me really depressed that I was losing so much of the day-to-day life that I had from my activities with my husband and my children and my job and just the whole gamut of what I was going through before I had my implant and I turned that direction in the right way. But even after I had my implant, there was a time about 4 or 5 years into it where I really struggled emotionally because I could see I was starting to put weight on, and my physical activity level was nowhere where it used to be. I couldn't do the things that I enjoyed to do. And this disease absolutely affects your mental wellness. It absolutely does. And if anybody tells you any differently to that, they're not being honest with you. And I know 100% of the patients who have this disease would agree with that statement. I would be stunned if somebody didn't agree with that. I refer to it as this black pit that sort of sits over my left shoulder, and it calls my name. And when I'm really struggling with my emotions from just life, right? Struggles at work, struggles with my health, struggles with family issues, crisis, conflict, stress from work. I feel this black pit that's over my shoulder, and it calls my name, and it wants me to revisit. Now, that's a very visual thing that I'm explaining because that's how it feels. When you fall into that black pit of despair, it is so incredibly hard to get out of it. And you need professional help to get out of it and stay out of it. Because you can digress with this disease very quickly physically, which will then affect your mental stability too, because they are intertwined. This disease is intertwined with your mental wellness. So if your mental wellness is good and stable, it will help you physically battle this disease every day. If it's not, then you're going to struggle even harder because you don't have that superpower of your brain working for you in the best way that it can. Because you go, make no mistake, guys, this thing in your head, it's the most powerful thing on this earth besides love. You can do remarkable, miraculous things if you believe and you get out of your head. Get out of your head. If you don't think you can do something, do you really think you're going to do it successfully? Of course you're not. If you believe that you can do it successfully, then you will do it successfully. I learned that in therapy when I was battling with this horrible disease and I was trying to make a decision as to whether or not I was going to have a lifelong metal implant surgically implanted in my side to give me the best opportunity to get my life back. It is one of the most complicating parts of having RSD is the mental fatigue, the emotional fatigue, because a lot of people, I had a remarkable support system. My husband was and still is the most amazing man. He supports me and encourages me. My children do, my extended family, my parents, they did. And so I was very blessed that I had a fantastic support system that didn't question me. There's a lot of people that are questioned whether or not they're really sick, and it's a psychological thing. This is not a psychological thing. This has been proved. This is a disease. It's been around since the Civil War, and it will consume you if you let it. Use this mighty machine up here and say to yourself, I'm going to control it. It's not going to control me. But I had to learn all of that in therapy with somebody that understood catastrophic injuries and the resulting damage lifelong, and learning to cope with that and still have a wonderfully successful life, which I do. So the answer is yes, we all feel that way. It still calls my name. When I'm having a really bad day, if the grief in my life is overtaking me, if I have a conflict with somebody, if I have a stressful day at work, it calls my name. Carrie, we're here. Please come and visit us. We'd love to have you back. And it takes everything within my power to just say, no, I'm not going to let that happen. It's really easy to slide down that slide and fall into that black pit of despair. Because think about a black pit, right? Like a what they call it, a bear fall, where a bear falls into this black pit to trap them, and they can't get out, and it's this deep, dark pit. There's no way to climb yourself out the walls, and as night comes, it becomes darker and darker, and you are in blackness. That's what that thing is like. So it's no joke. If you have RSD and you are feeling like you can't cope or you need help, please go get it. Please go get it, because it is and it will manifest itself in other areas, and it is crucial to your well-being and your continued moving forward, that you get the help. And there is nothing wrong with asking for that help, I promise you. And if you want to connect one-on-one, please reach out to me. That's what I'm here for. That's why I do these videos, to help somebody else have the very best life they can and kick this disease out of control. You control it. Don't let it control you. This is Carrie. I hope you have a wonderful evening.